I'm making hood cake, even though I'm not from the hood. It's a hood classic, you know? Yellow cake with chocolate frosting. Period. It's gonna fucking go hard. Oh, let me turn my lights off. I don't know, I'm yelling.
What? You need to, oh, yeah. Oh, you can see what's going on in here. You and them nails.
Period, bitch. I'm a bad bitch right now. Well, not my hair, but
Oh, I'm bummy. And
you
I
had a
claimed it multiple
oh,
times today.
you claimed it. But since you planned it, and I was like, why?
No, I don't need planning. It just needs the right clothes and me not doing anything to get my life together.
Morgan, pick a color, any color.
I like green. What did you do last time? Red or
Yeah, you
purple?
could. I did.
Green.
You couldn't really tell, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa, what the hell? Can you see this?
Yeah.
Different colors say aggravated, cranky, angry, nervous, anxious, confused, concerned, worried, afraid.
Okay, that's what you were trying to show me. That's stupid.
Why would you? They're all negative. One of them says relax, though.
I'll be back. 1 second. Let me get some water.
Okay. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. The ring didn't mean a thing. Whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I guess I could do my intro until Morgan gets back. Welcome back to Who Asked You. We're cozy today because in California it's getting cold. It is 69 degrees, which means I'm a weak ass bitch since leaving Cleveland. This week we have Morgan again, and we're doing another true crime episode. Let me pull up my notes. I'm doing an intro, bitch. You just interrupted me.
Damn, my bad.
The hell? Who else would I be talking to?
I don't know, maybe yourself.
I don't do that. Yeah, I do. Excuse me. So, okay. Anyways, before I was rudely interrupted.
My bad.
This is another true crime Halloween special episode of of Who Asked You. Hold on. My ears are too fucking small. This is really gonna irritate me.
Are they new?
No, I've had them since my birthday.
Oh.
I never really wear them when I have these nails on, so maybe that's why.
Gotcha.
Ooh, what was that?
What did you just do?
What was that? Ooh, spooky.
The whole because stuff is in a surge protector, and the whole surge protector flipped, so it turned off everything, including my heater.
Anyway, like I was saying, I'm cozy today for our episode because it's fucking cold. It's 69 degrees when last week it was in the 90s.
Global 69. Shoot, I wish.
It's cold, bitch.
It's colder here. If I don't have a blanket, even though that would be smart. It's 45 here.
If it were just 90 degrees, you would be cold. I went out to get my pizza dressed like this. Well, not the socks, but short. What is this? A play suit? And it was frigid, bitch. I was like, let me put some sweats on. Anyways, well, okay, stop interrupting me, bitch. Okay, so okay, this is Who Asked You, another true crime, part 2 of our true crime Halloween, whatever shenanigans. And this week I have Morgan again.
Hi. Sorry, my dog is making noises. I don't know if you're being crazy. Pepper, come here.
I mean, this figure in the back. Queen and Pepper. And so this week, let me pull up the exact title. Let me go to IMDb. Morgan chose the last topic or the last subject. I'm choosing this week's. This one was called American Murder.
Oh, was that what I was like? All I remember was American.
That's scary enough, ain't it? Okay. So this one's called American Murder, The Family Next Door. It came out this year on Netflix. It's trending, so I think that it literally just came onto Netflix.
It did.
How long ago did you watch it?
So I watched it probably like a week before you watched it. So it had to be maybe 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks.
That's fair. So
But that was a little easier story to follow just because that's like recent.
yeah,
And all this happened.
This took place in 2018.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy that they made a doc and like released it so fast afterwards. Because usually I feel like you don't get all of this information and background. And they had so much film of like actual situations that went down, which made this different than some other true crime shows or movies or whatever.
It felt very first person or second person, I guess, because we were, there's somebody filming it. It didn't feel like, like you had to get advice from all these experts and different opinions and stuff and interview all these different people. No, it was very straightforward.
You're there.
Yeah, it felt very realistic. I mean, it was realistic, but it felt like, you were there. So opening up, I thought it was very interesting the way that it was filmed. It kind of, have you watched Catfish lately? Or did you watch that show? I don't know if you watched it.
Like the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Not so the show is generally filmed like how this is filmed, but it also is filmed like how it's currently being filmed, which is like quarantine style.
Okay.
It's like very like screen recording, and a lot of it was from the perspective of the victim's Facebook, because I guess she was an avid, Facebook white mom. So everything, I think that's why, because she shared so much. That's why so much of the information was they could check cross-examine the information with her fucking feed.
The police were actually using their body cams, and people had security cameras and stuff, so they were able to pull the actual footage of stuff going down. Like, to show, just to start off of like how creepy it is, it starts off with a video of this woman walking up to her house on the last night that anybody's seen her. Like, this is the last time she's ever been seen.
Ever.
And they just show her walking up to her house because I guess they had probably like a Ring or some sort of doorbell camera.
Yeah. So I took more detailed notes this time. So hopefully this is more like, hire me, True Crime TV. Just kidding. I don't really want that. I mean, unless y'all hiring. True TV.
It's the same thing with money.
If you're trying to pay a sisters with a Z. Anyway, so it's from the perspective of Shanann.
I think that's how I thought it was from.
It reminded me of like the Kamala Harris thing, because it's like Kamala. And if she was white, we wouldn't have no issue pronouncing her name. But Shanann, I've put it phonetically because I'm not a disrespectful ass bitch. Shanann, RIP. It takes place from her perspective and like her post from her Facebook page. It's very weird. It's creepy. And then you're introduced to her husband, who is Chris. They have 2 daughters, Bella and Celeste. They're not, I mean,
they're young children.
I'm gonna say they're not, they're not irrelevant, but they weren't. I mean, they are, but they're not. Not today.
They aren't a big part of the story, but they are part of the tragedy.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So it's they're not newlyweds, are they? No, they've been married for a minute.
They have been married since before the kids, I think.
Yeah, so let's say like 5 years, give or take. Their kids
are
Tyler. Yeah, I think one is 2, the other is 4, or something like that. Anyway, they're a little family, nice little American family. Dog. Do they have pets? They have pets. Dog, 2 kids, husband, house. They're in Colorado for the husband's new job.
Right, because they just moved, because they were from North Carolina, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so, yeah. So they're friends. They have friends close by. Their neighbors are pretty
friendly,
involved. Like, they knew what was up when things got suspicious. But let's jump in the gun a little bit. So like Morgan said, it starts off with, or one of the first scenes is her like home security showing her walking up on the stairs, and then you hear from her best friend or her close friend in the area that she had just picked her up from the airport. Correct? Were they just coming back from the trip?
Coming back from the airport because they were coming back from a work trip, and so they got back in the middle of the night, like 2 or 3 in the morning, and so she was dropping her off before she went home.
Yeah. So the friend, they show that footage. They show a little bit about the family just via Shanann's Facebook feed. And the friend that dropped her off was calling to do a welfare check. You can hear her concern. She's saying like when she dropped her off, she said she wasn't feeling that well. Goes on to reveal that she suffers from lupus. So they were like, you know, she just traveled. She's probably tired. Like she said that she didn't feel
She had
very
a
well.
doctor's appointment the next day that she missed.
Right. So these things lead you to believe that she has people that care about her, people that are concerned for her, and she pretty much had normal things going on before she disappeared.
Right.
And when she disappeared, it was very out of character for her. So
and we can say, I guess now, when she disappeared, it wasn't just her. The 2 babies disappeared as well.
That's a little bit yes. Yeah. I was a little bit ahead of, but no, they did get into that pretty quickly actually. So she and the 2 kids did disappear. And it was very out of the ordinary. She missed her doctor's appointment. She wasn't answering the phone from anybody. And then at some point, this camera person, so where did this person come from? Because I thought it was was that the body cam that was filming it?
So
was that
it switched through a lot of cameras. And that's one thing that's kind of cool, but kind of weird, like the difference in the time, because everybody has cameras on everything, right?
Yeah.
So some of the footage was body cam footage from the police. Some of it was like her friend and her friend's husband or boyfriend or whoever he was. I think they had cameras going while they were calling the police, while they were questioning people, because they were the ones that called the police like, hey, haven't heard from her. Can you do a welfare check? So they're at the house with the police because they're filming before the police show up. Right.
That's why I was like, I don't know who is. Yeah, it was a little bit. It's not hard to follow. It's just there's so many different perspectives because there's so many people recording.
Everybody has a different camera. Then they'll be showing something from a security camera across the street. And yeah.
They were very thorough in finding out where she
They did a good investigation. I tell you that.
They really did.
It was like supposed to work.
Exactly. I was gonna say this is something that you unfortunately don't see very often, at least not the publicized stories, but they were on it. Not at all. I mean, that goes without saying, but yeah, so they're very concerned. So it's the police or whoever has the body cam, I'm assuming it's the police were for sure there. And then Scott, who is their neighbor, I believe.
Yeah, he came in later.
Yeah, so, and they're talking about getting permission. They're trying to basically they were scoping the premises because the husband was not there yet. Right. And they don't have permission to enter the premises without the owner's consent. Obviously, she's missing. He's not there yet. They're kind of doing what they can legally until he shows up.
Making sure they don't see something that it gives them cause to break in.
Right.
But yeah, otherwise they were just waiting for the husband to show up.
Yeah. So he finally does. And to be honest, okay, part of me watching this, I had never heard of this story before. Really? Part of me watching this already knew that he did it. I knew it's kind of it's kind of like the Durst. We knew that he did it. It's not out of
you ain't acting right.
I wasn't like, oh my God. But still watching him, it took me for I was like, okay, obviously this guy did it. But watching it, I was very trying to observe his body language I was with the Durst story. And I was just he just seems concerned. He didn't seem nervous he did
That's
something
what I'm saying.
suspicious.
And here's the thing, I'll give you this because people have different relationships. Maybe you wouldn't be as distraught that your wife is missing or as emotional yet. You know what, that's a grown ass woman, whatever. But the fact that your kids are missing and you don't know where they are.
Yeah.
I'm going to be, I'm not going to be.
He was coherent. He was fidgety and a little bit not composed fully, but he wasn't
talking fine, just having regular conversation.
He only after a certain point in interviewing him or communicating with him did he seem okay, this nigga did it. Like I said, it felt very okay, this is the guy. Damn, this is unfortunate. Hope he finds out what's going on. And then it was that nigga did it.
And that's what I'm saying. Little stuff like that. Oh, you went okay. Maybe you're not panicking first. Like you said, all right, that's normal. All right, your wife's phone is there.
Her phone, her purse, her
medication that she take every day.
Everything.
But your kids, they blankets that they take everywhere is gone. And your wife is gone.
Yeah. And it was interesting. They did find her phone and turn it on, and they put on the screen all the messages and the missed calls and stuff. He did contact her and said, hey, wherever you are, just let me know where the kids are. So
let me know you're safe. Get in contact with me.
Morgan said, you never know people's relationship, but that's a little bit sus. And that's when I was like, almost like he was trying to cover his tracks, eh?
It would be interesting seeing it from that perspective because unlike you, I knew about the story. I remember when this was all going on, I was in grad school.
I don't remember this at all.
Because I remember it was on national news and they were like, oh, they're missing. And all of a sudden they're like, yeah, the husband did this shit. And I'm like, and I remember when they found the bodies and it was on national news.
It's hard to like differentiate because, I mean, this is not uncommon. Like when you hear that especially with kids, when you hear that kids are missing, a lot of times it ends up being the parents have something to do with it. So it's really sad to say, like, I don't remember this, or if I did, I could be confusing you with someone else's story because it's not uncommon, like I said. But like I said, she left her phone, her medication, which is very, I mean, I don't personally know anybody. Well, I do know somebody with lupus, but it's a autoimmune disease. So
right.
It's not like, you
don't have to take it. No.
Maybe leave your blood pressure medicine at home. Like, no, it's something that you need to keep on you,
That was another thing too, like what you were saying before. Oh, okay. So then, because what the police were talking about is like, all right, either they left or somebody took them. And I'm like, who taking a wife and toddlers? Not a woman and her infant, but who's taking a woman and two toddlers?
Yeah, they're not like 5 and 6 where it's like, okay, they can walk on their own and everything. Like, no, these are babies essentially.
I think it's very rare that somebody kidnaps a woman and two toddlers.
It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And then also, like, not only did she leave her phone behind, her purse, her wallet, her medication, she also left her wedding ring behind, which is, again, where I'm, like, adding it up. I'm like, he's trying to make it seem like she potentially left, and that comes on later before, shit hits the fan, and he has to come clean about what he did because he tried to set the scene to cover his ass.
But I don't understand logically. If you're setting the scene for that, why not get rid of the medication in the cell phone? Okay, or maybe
he tried to
left the cell phone because she didn't want to get tracked. But like, she wouldn't forget her medication.
True. Yeah, that was just sloppy. But it seemed like we'll get to what actually happened, but he made it look like she left because they do end up talking about like they're arguing and stuff like that, even though they have to like low-key pry it out of him. He wanted it seems like his intention was for it to look like she left because they were unhappy in their relationship. But yeah, leaving the medicine, that's a huge oversight. Huge. So the mother gets involved and is calling. Everybody's very concerned, which again makes me feel like a little warm and fuzzy, even though, I mean, to no point because they are gone. But yeah, they really cared. Exactly. Right. So also a huge thing that we forgot to say, she's also pregnant.
Oh yeah, they didn't, but they don't tell you that early. That's something that comes in a little like midway.
Yeah,
because it's a part of their story.
But it makes it even more sick. Like, I mean, it already killing anyone is sick, and then your children and your unborn child just beyond me. But
so there's something that didn't really come up to my memory in the doc, but I remember it being in the news when they were reporting about it. It was like he was not happy about that baby.
Yeah,
like they didn't mention that in the doc, but he did not want that baby. He was not happy when they had videos, because like Kourtney said, she had a bunch of videos that she posted on Facebook and everything, but behind the scenes he was not happy that she was pregnant. Like
they had a home video where she had, and it's very funny, like I don't mean to disrespect her because she's not with us anymore, but it's very quintessential, like live, laugh, love, like white mom. So it was cheesy, but she had this t-shirt. She had a t-shirt that said, "Oops, we did it again." And he walked in. I had to rewind it because I didn't know if it was like present time or like a flashback or whatever. And the flashbacks take place on her, like from her Facebook feed. So she was like, showing him that they're pregnant or whatever. He was like, what? Like he had such a fuck nigga response. So even though it wasn't like explicit as it was in real life from the doc, you could still feel it. Like
yeah, a little bit.
Like, oh wow. Like nigga, you better be excited, nigga. Shit.
So like after the police and they're all in the house searching and they're wondering what's going on, one thing that was really impactful for me is once the police started going to the neighbors, and there was that one, they started going to the neighbors because he was like, oh yeah, my neighbor has a camera because we've been having some theft, so he has a camera and you can actually see in my driveway. And so they're like, let's go to the neighbor's house and see this footage then. And so
that's when everything completely shifted. That's when I was like, this nigga did it. He did it. He did it. That's because he was like, oh shit.
Ooh, that part was real.
And they pulled, it was so funny. They pulled whoever was recording aside and they were like, hey, this nigga acting weird.
That was the neighbor. No, that was the neighbor with the police body cam footage.
Yeah. He was just like, hey man, this, like, normally this dude ain't saying shit. He is singing like, I think he said singing like a canary. I was like, yo.
Like when your neighbor can say like, y'all, this nigga acting different. There's a problem.
You don't believe that you should have been a little bit more careful, or, you know, just not killed your family at all. But.
Right. But like, it was crazy because that's one of those things, like, just like what we talked about with Robert Durst, is like, you want to get caught. Why are you even mentioning the camera at your neighbors?
He's just running his mouth.
What the camera did is showed their driveway, and so it would show the comings and goings of everybody. Only person you ever saw leave was him and his truck. So if you never see her and the babies leave, when did they have to leave?
And somebody, I don't remember if it was the neighbor or, because at some point they did like literally canvass around the neighborhood with flyers and everything. Somebody mentioned that he never parks into the garage. So for him to be pulling out of the garage, or
that was very, what he did, he parks on the street, and you could see in the video he moved from his truck from the street into the garage, or into like right in front of the garage, and his explanation was, yeah, it was for materials for work, because he does construction type
like work site
stuff. And it was like, and so he was like, yeah, it was to put materials in the car. And the neighbor who had the camera was like, he never does that. He ain't saying this in front of the dude. He waited until he left the house, but he said it to the cops. He never pulls his car back like that.
The neighbor was like the star to me. He wasn't in it very much, but he was like, hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. Like, this nigga is sus as hell. Like,
I was like, you a real one. That's what you're supposed to do.
Bro. So that's how they set the scene for everything. And then, like we mentioned several times, they then pull a lot from her social media feed to kind of tell the story of what happened, corroborated by her like close friends and stuff.
Right. So it's like they get to that point, and then it's like, you know, like those old movies, rewind, how did we get? They didn't do that. But
Bet you're wondering how we got here. I hate that shit. Wonder how my life changed, how I got to this position. Let me tell you, man. Like,
and then go back 2 months ago. But yes. But then it sets up their relationship and how their relationship was, because at this point they've set it up as like something suspect about this husband. What's going on? Why would he potentially do anything to his wife and children?
So it goes back, Shanann's like, I was, to be honest, on this fuck that nigga shit until I met this nigga. Oh, well, she didn't, they're white. They didn't say that. But pretty much she was just like, you know, fuck these niggas, except for my nigga.
I'm about to do my business, make my money, build me a house. She was doing her.
Oh yeah, she was like, I really wanted a house, so I built one. Period.
Okay.
Period. I worked my ass off and I got a house, and then this nigga came along, as niggas tend to do when you mind your business, getting your shit together. But I digress.
Here come a fuck nigga.
Okay, so she has her house. She meets this man. They fall in love, and she, you know, I see myself a lot in Shanann. Okay, I'm not a white woman, but she was like, I gave him a lot of outs, and he stayed because, you know, sometimes you gotta test.
And she admitted to her faults too. She was like, yeah, I'm a little controlling. And like, yeah, I have my health issues that you got to deal with too. And that's what you were saying, like she gave him outs. Like she let him know this shit up front.
She laid all her, you know, dirt on the table and was like, hey, you can deal with it or you can leave, because I'm a self-sufficient, independent ass woman. And he stayed. So, okay. They got married.
Cute. His family don't really fuck with her like that. Which
ends up being a pretty big deal. Well, not a big deal, but
they make it to be a big deal in the.
It was a role. It played a part for sure.
Right.
So they get married. They end up having 2 babies. They have a lot of home videos, and it's cute. And of course, they move. Then he has a new job, and she, I think, still does work too.
She does work.
She did come up from a work trip.
Mm-hmm. She works. So they have like a standard life, happy to do, you know, like
until they
have the house, the 2.5 kids, you know, it's just a very standard life until, so first they started like fighting and like not being on the same page.
Yeah, so they then jump back into real time where they brought him in for questioning, and he had to they had to administer a polygraph test, a lie detector
But it was
test.
even before then, because before the polygraph, he was like, "Yeah, we have just regular marital issues and blah blah blah." Because the polygraph came in a little later.
Well, he said they had like I don't know what he said, but they were like, was there? Because I mean, they asked, they're investigating, like, you know,
y'all cheat.
First they were like doing it as if it were a missing persons thing, like trying to find out where it was. But then at some point, I mean, they're professionals, so they were like, we gotta, obviously, did you guys have like a big fight, or did something lead up to this before she disappeared? Did she maybe leave as a result of an argument, or like, is this normal for her to just dip out? And he said they had an emotional argument. I think that's something that he said.
Right, because it basically concluded with him kind of saying like, I want to,
or conversation.
I want this to be over.
Yeah,
like he eventually got to that point because initially he wasn't really even getting that far, but basically he was trying to say, oh, I broke, like not officially broke up, but I was like, yeah, I don't think this is working.
Yeah,
that needs to end between us.
Yeah,
and that conversation was supposed to happen the night before she disappeared, like when she got back.
Yeah, so horrible timing. This nigga sucks at hiding this. I mean, you shouldn't kill people if you're not a good liar. I mean, you shouldn't kill people. You know what I'm saying. But this nigga did a horrible job. So they end up going back to the Facebook time, and they show them leaving. They take a trip back home to North Carolina to visit with family.
A long time, like a couple of months.
Yeah, imagine having that money. Must be nice. They went to visit her parents and her in-laws, his parents. It was one of the girl's birthday at some point.
Right.
And that was one of the source of the issue, or one of the
right. Well, it kind of started beforehand, because while her and the girls went for a couple of months, he didn't join until like the last 2 weeks of the trip.
Yeah, he stayed, hey girl.
Right.
In the story. It's like, oh, this is good.
And so
he joined them later.
Got even worse, because like even before he's in, where they live in
Colorado,
right? And she's in North Carolina, and like he don't call to check in, he don't call to talk to his daughters, he don't know I love yous, no nothing. And then it gets even worse when he comes to North Carolina, because she like, we ain't seen each other in however much long, if nothing else, we gonna fuck.
Before he even gets there, she is texting him, and this is why Morgan mentioned like, oh, she admits that she's bossy or whatever. She does. It's funny because this has her like her shit talking text messages with her girls, and then like her text to him, and then her Facebook page was just like completely picture perfect. So it's like, wow, it just tells you a little bit about social media. But anyway, so at some point the girls go over to the in-laws' house, and I guess one of the girls has like a severe nut allergy.
She has some food allergies.
Yeah, and the grandmother gives something that she's allergic to.
And she like, you trying to kill my kid? Like, the fuck?
What grandparents do that?
How you don't know what your grandkid's allergic to?
A very close family. The kids are not that old, so like you couldn't remember that your fucking grandchild's allergic to nuts. And nut allergies is not just like, oh, I don't like this smell or whatever, or I don't eat this makes my tongue itch. Like throat closing, eyes swelling, anaphylaxis, bitch. I mean, they did die anyway, but I'm just saying, like, Jesus Christ. You couldn't fucking remember the nut allergy, bitch?
And
everybody that got a nut allergy makes a huge deal.
Because it's not even just you feel like, it's just all that can come from that. Like, yes, mistakes happen, but like that could lead to hospital bills. That could lead to
just because you couldn't take
if you give my kids something that I told you that they shouldn't have.
Yeah. She didn't seem like it was like an overbearing thing. Again, it's from her perspective. She's like letting you know, just a reminder, and the bitch did it anyway. So she didn't even go off on the mom, or they did or get into it because the mom kicks them out. And she's texting her husband like, hey,
get your mama
let this bitch know, like, and then he was just like, oh, I'll try it. No, nigga, like, you need to set this bitch straight. She almost killed your fucking child. And then like Morgan said,
this is how you I'm sorry, but this is how you know that relationship is funny, because like you said, it was the daughters, one of the daughter's birthday, and then his parents didn't even show up to the celebration
because of
like,
the
you
art.
don't like your grandkids
Yeah.
like that, do you?
It's like that
So
whole
I ain't gonna
side
let
of the
nobody
family.
stand in between me seeing my grandchildren.
Period. So he ends up coming. They're arguing, and well, even before he came, like she just made a note about how distant he has been, and she checked him a couple times, like, "Wow, you couldn't fucking FaceTime me? Like, I am your wife, like something." And then we jump back into present time again, where he is finally getting the polygraph test done, and
more interviews with police.
For a second, I was just like, you know that feeling when you know you didn't do anything wrong, but you're driving near a cop and you're like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God.
Right.
I was like, maybe if I was taking a lie detector test, I might be a little bit nervous too. Even if you know you didn't do anything wrong, it seems a little bit intense. So for a second, I was like, maybe he did it.
Also, and like, but also legally, you should never take a lie detector test because they're not accurate. Like they might give the police an idea, but there's still close to 50% chance that it's wrong. So that's why they can never use it in a court of law.
Yeah, it just seemed very, I mean, it seemed obvious that he did it, but for a second, especially after seeing her perspective a little bit, you know, posthumously, I was like, maybe she did just leave, because he seemed really nervous, but not like, oh shit, I killed her, they're gonna find out. Just like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. Now I'm being a suspect. I know I didn't do anything wrong. I was kind of like, maybe he didn't do it. They do the person that administered the test.
She was a real one.
She was a fucking G. She was like, I know you did it. So,
but even though before they even took the test, she was like, okay, we're gonna do this. I know you signed on to it. Blah blah blah. I mean, it would be stupid of you to sign on to this if you killed her. So she said this blatantly, like, it would be stupid for you to take this test because if you did do something to them and I will know. You don't, like, you're the only one that knows what happened so far, but I will know. Dude, that shit is creepy.
Is that her?
What?
Did she do that?
No, it was the surge protector popped off.
Wait, is your heater plugged into the surge protector?
I know it shouldn't be, but
no, do not. No, girl, you're gonna set that bitch on fire. No, do not do that. So yeah.
So she was like,
crazy. She's like, just letting you know that you would be really stupid to take this test when you could just, you know, wait for your fucking. And he didn't have a lawyer with him.
He didn't. Nothing. He wasn't. I'm sorry. There's people walking down the street with face masks and fake axes. I'm like, is it Halloween today?
No, it's definitely not. Are they white?
No.
Oh, I don't know what to tell you, girl.
Of this complexion.
Okay. So yeah, he didn't have a lawyer present. At some point, his dad does show up for I guess for moral support. His dad was useless. But so she's trying to let him know he does a test and he's fucking up. I don't know if they ended it early, but at some point she's just like, so listen, I know what's up. Like,
you lied. These are lies, so we know you did something. Let us know.
He was like stammering and sweating and stuttering, and she's like, hey, you can't do all like like she was a G though. Like she really was.
Right. And so like I can't quite remember if this was before or after the polygraph, but these are the police in these situations. Anytime it's a wife and a husband, they ask questions and they're like, okay, so it was a guy cop and he was like, so I noticed you lost some weight. And because he had lost like a good amount of weight, he was bigger. And then he was like, you know, typically if somebody just randomly loses weight, a man starts losing weight and he's already married and all that stuff.
For a bitch.
Somebody.
For another bitch.
Somebody. He's like, it's not anybody that led you to start losing weight. And so like they are already.
He was fucking sick. Shit. They were doing their motherfucking job, boy. I tell you. I'm not fucking cops, but they was doing that shit.
Right. And so like
I am a supporter of justice, even though I don't fuck with them. Because they don't fuck with justice most times. But yeah. So like you getting slim for a bitch?
and so that kind of ties in because like I said, you have they show the messages between Shanann and her friends, and she's like, we have not had sex in this long, and it's been this much time since we haven't been together. If he ain't getting it from me, and he don't want to, because he comes to North Carolina and he still don't want to fuck her.
Oh my
She
God,
like,
bro.
you fucking somebody else. I was like, you's right.
Bro, her text, she was so fucking horny. I was like, I'm uncomfortable. She was like, because she like took a shower. He came in and took a shower. She tried to lay out instead of get dressed. He said, I'm just going to sob to sleep. I was like, oh, girl. It was very Sex in the City.
Which, I mean, like, if you're married and you ain't had sex, like, you're not older. You ain't had sex with your partner in months, weeks.
And it's like it's not like they're inactive. They're pregnant. So it's like, what the fuck's up? I'll be suspicious. I've never been married, but I'll be suspicious. So in comes this girl, Nicole, who was his co-worker. Well, they showed this video of her. Hey, what's his name? Scott? Chris? Hey, Chris. Is his name Chris?
I think so, yeah.
Hey, Chris, I'm here at and you told me about this place, and oh my God, see you soon. I was like, hold on, bitch. This bitch too friendly. This ain't no coworker ass video message, bitch.
Exactly.
So they're coworkers.
And I'll say that's another thing that was different in like news media while it was happening versus this, because they made it more in news media when it was going on that bitch knew. I mean, she might not have known about him killing them, but she knew more about that marriage than she was letting on. And like, yeah, I want to say she got a book deal afterwards.
That's gross. For what? She really had no major role in it. It's all on him and the family. But according to her, I'm glad you did follow this because that's a good perspective to add to this. But according to her in the documentary, she knew that according to him, they were separated.
Right.
And so this couldn't have been an affair.
Even though I'm sorry, unless it's like some old Black people shit where it's like, we've been separated for 15 years, we don't live together, all that shit, we just too lazy to get divorced. No, that's still cheating. And
didn't she know he was pregnant or she was pregnant?
I don't think she did.
Okay.
I don't think she knew.
But either way, she was aware of his children. I mean, this is okay. Friend to friend, Morgan and I talk about, whether, a guy having kids or not is a deal breaker. For me, at my stage in life, it is for me. Only because it sounds childish, but like, I just want your attention on me. And I want my first kid to be your first kid. That's how I feel now. It could change. It could change totally 6 months from now. But yeah, especially, and if I'm willing to, assuming that you're on good terms with the child's mother and all that stuff, then I have to consider the children's age, because it's like, I'm 26, so I'm dating people that are my age and like up to like 30, early 30s, okay? If your child is like 5 and up, I might be willing to consider that versus you having a pregnant wife or like an under 5-year-old.
Because apparently y'all was cool.
Recently, nigga. Recently enough for this motherfucker to exist. So for this bitch to be dating him, she already knew what the fuck was up. But that's just my opinion. But
I personally agree. You just what's up.
Cause it's like, you was just in there. I'm not trying to be crass, but you was just up in there. Cause he here. So maybe you might double back.
Also, here's my thing. Maybe she's not a stalker. And I'm not saying this in a bad way, but I'm just talking about like, his wife literally posts everything on social media. Bitch, you telling me you ain't never seen none of these happy-go-lucky videos she posted them?
You ain't never gone on her Instagram or her Facebook page, bitch? I mean, and you would think this woman was like a lifestyle blogger, because a lot of people, they even like were like, have you seen this woman? They were like, I don't know her, but I see her Facebook page. So like, she was a local celeb, low-key, like.
And I think it's because she would also do stuff about her lupus and how treatments and different things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. She was very candid. It was kind of like her own little Housewives from Home franchise thing. So this bitch is sus. Like, not only are you trash for dating him, because like Morgan said, I'm sorry, I find it very hard to believe that, he just never told me. A woman knows.
Even if you're not trying to be real stalkers, you look at Facebook. Let me see if I can find the baby mama.
That's basic. Because I'm going to be real.
Just because you're interested.
I'm going to be real. I mean, I do look up niggas, but that's basic. There are ways that at some point you're looking so deep, you're like, this is kind of crazy. Facebook is basic. Social media.
The way she posted, you know, he was in one of her, either her profile picture or her cover photo. So that would have gave you a sign right there. If y'all still in, y'all together.
Even when he came to North Carolina after being home, she was like, "Can you text me when you're coming down the stairs so I can record the girl?" Like, she was on it. She's like, so she recorded him coming down at the airport. So this heifer could have looked it up, but anyway, she's trifling. They don't really have much to say from her, but they're kind of just like, back to him, like, you don't think maybe because you got a new bitch you might want to get rid of your old family and start a new one? They just said it flat out, and he was like, no, but it's not true. It's not true, because he killed them. And then what's twisted, I mean, he already trying to like lay the groundwork to like, you know, exonerate himself, but he tried to make it seem like she snapped and he walked in on her smothering their children.
And so
sorry if I jumped ahead, but we're getting to the point now. Sorry if that feels like sudden, but he tried to say like he choked her out because she was choking her kids out.
And she had already killed them.
Okay, because I was thinking like, okay, 2 young children. You want me to believe that she did one after the other, and then you just walked in and I don't kill people, so I don't know, but that just seems a little bit of a stretch.
So he was trying to get off by that, saying like, hey, I was crazy at the moment because she killed my kids, so I killed her. But then I'm like, okay, so let's say that is what happened and blah, blah, blah. So now you dispose of all 3 bodies? What you think is going to happen? I'm just confused. So how is that supposed to work out with that story?
After he tried that little bullshit, then they start getting into, you know, like we were saying earlier, into like the affair and stuff like that. And then they went more into like him lying, like kind of went back. It was between like her text messages to her homegirls and then like CCTV, is that what it's called? Like street cameras or like store surveillance.
CCTV?
Yeah. They had like the
Closed circuit television.
Yes. They had like the store surveillance cameras and everything. They showed them at the store at the time where he was supposed to be on his way home. He was supposed to be at a work dinner, but he's really with this bitch. And the girl was like, oh my God, he was so considerate. He's so attentive and da-da-da-da-da. And then she's like, this nigga's up to something, you know, her with her friends. Like, yeah.
Right. It was just
a little bit 2 worlds colliding.
Right. And at this point, keep in mind, like at this point, as far as him trying to blame her, he's already gotten charges. He's already in court. His explanation while like the trial is going on is, hey, she did this, so then I did that. Like it's already gotten to this point. He's charged. She's been in jail.
Yeah.
You're at that
it's
point.
Trash.
Right. Trash. And then eventually his story changes. And he decides to tell the truth, whether we believe it's the truth or not.
He says that he comes home, they argue. She threatens to like take his kids away, or she confronts him allegedly about the affair because they had sex, and then the next morning he was like not fucking with her, no pun intended. And so they argue, and then she confronts him about the affair, and he's like, all right, you got me, even though nigga sloppy. And so she allegedly threatens to take his kids away, which is trash if true, but you know, who knows, because she's dead. Who's to say what's the truth? Story. Right. Yeah, fucking weirdo.
He eventually like gets deeper into the story, basically saying, yeah, I smothered or strangled her, killed her, wrapped her up, put her in the car, got with his kids who were still alive. Well, no, actually no, because after he killed her, the kids came in the room and they're like, what's wrong with mommy? And he was like, oh, she's just sleeping. Eventually wraps the baby up. And this was the worst part to me. He didn't put her he had like a pickup truck. He didn't put her in the bed of the truck. He put her in like the floor of the back seat, and then had the kids sitting there alive,
crying
in the car seat with their mama on the floor. And they like, what's wrong with mommy? And then what he ends up doing is, this is in the middle of the morning, like early morning, driving to his work site. And I think first he kills one child, and then the other child like wakes up in the process because it's a drive to the work site. So they had fallen asleep in the car. So he suffocates one child. other one wakes up in the process and is like, what? And like comes at him like, when he's coming at her, she's like, Daddy, no. Kills the other child, buries his wife, and then stuffs his children in these tiny, right, they are toddlers, they're small, but these are like tiny,
like
cylinders,
canisters,
like in something in the middle of nowhere. It's like where's oil and stuff, like an oil drum, not like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but,
I want to text a picture. That's right. Yeah,
right,
like a drum.
Yeah, but it's like deep and it goes into the ground, and he puts his kids in those. But like, yes, they're small, but that's how you have no compassion or feeling for these children, because you had to squeeze and push them in there. They didn't just drop.
No,
you had to like. Now I'm like, oh, I don't give a fuck about you, because even what you did after the deaths shows how you felt and how you ain't give a fuck.
Yeah. So he unenrolls his children. He calls the realtor to list the house for sale. He gets back with the girl, doesn't he?
Oh yeah. I think they were still dating at this point, because she's like, oh yeah, I just wanted, I thought she left him, and I just wanted her to be found, blah, blah, blah.
Because they came to her like they came to her like they hit him with the same, they hit her with the same thing they hit him, like the same energy, like, because y'all wanted to be together, you wouldn't want for something to happen to his wife and children, right? So that y'all can have your own shit. And she's like,
right, you ain't tell her that, you ain't tell him that they had to be gone for y'all to be together, right?
Do you know if she's been charged or like brought up on anything? And like,
I don't think
she's up.
No,
just him. And even when
that never really did come up, that she said that, like, I don't think they necessarily believe that she was like, oh, they got to be gone for us to be together. Yeah. Which, why would she say that? Because they was together anyway.
True. But it was very much that same energy on his end, though. Something about her being pregnant, and he's like, I'm not doing this shit again. And he just like,
right, switch some.
That's, bro, this is so fucked up.
It was a sad one.
Like we said in the last one, like, yeah, it's all sad, but some of them, and I didn't even know this was gonna involve children, but we avoided one that was about children. Some stuff just hits a little bit harder, and I was just like, this. Like when it ended, the credits roll, I was sitting here like,
damn,
that was fucked up. And then I had to go watch cartoons, bitch. It was too much. So,
oh yeah, that's what you gotta do.
And they showed him like being sentenced, whatever. He didn't want to say anything to apologize to the family. He didn't want to say anything, and he didn't. He looked like how he did at the beginning when they were like, I don't know what happened. He didn't look remorseful or nothing. So this was not like this was not like a crime of passion, because like I've seen cases where people do that. No. Like you do get an argument and you just go and grab something and stab your wife. Like people do that.
But that wasn't like the heat of the moment.
But this was more, and it's deeper because you are responsible for the death of three of your children. 3 of your children, like, bro. And then just go back, like, who does, if you, like, I don't know what I would do in that situation, but maybe if you were like in a blind rage, killed your family for some reason, can't relate, but wouldn't you call somebody? Like, I wouldn't be like, let me dispose of the bodies and sell my house and unenroll my kids. Like, that seems very premeditated.
That's planning, and that's where even if it was that at first, that's where it no longer becomes that and it becomes straight murder.
Yeah, so you just made it fucking worse because you're crazy.
Right.
You could have just been crazy and just went to regular crazy sentencing, but you had to do the extras. So did that. So did the court of law.
And I'm pretty sure he got life in prison because he told them where the bodies were. I think that took like death penalty off the table. Yeah. And so he got, a bunch of life sentences.
I don't know how I feel about the death penalty. It's so many different things come into play when I think about if that's like just or not. But this was one where I would not be surprised.
I'm on a case-by-case basis because, yes, for historically, the death penalty is fucked up because really they just use it to kill a bunch of Black people who ain't really do shit. Yeah. But when it's so black and white,
I don't believe in life for life. Like that doesn't make sense. But mass murderers, serial killers, I'm sorry.
Especially people that like admit to it and have no remorse. What's the point?
Because if you
Why?
like murder is life. We know that. But it's like some murders is just like, okay, obviously people get wrongly accused all the time and stuff like that. And if you look at the
Sometimes there's a
prison,
situation, it's a fight, and you just happen to kill that person. Still fucked up. But yes, no, you
wrong
shouldn't.
place, wrong time, wrong circumstances, whatever. And then generally, if you look at the prison system as it's supposed to be, well, we all know it's a bunch of bullshit. But if you look at it as as the institution it's supposed to be, therein where you rehabilitate people to bring them back into society as a normal person, even though you're going to strip away all their rights and all that stuff. That's a different story. It wouldn't make sense to kill them. It would just be hypocritical.
That's just punishment.
But there's no rehabilitating somebody that does something like this. There's nothing you can do. There's no changed behavior. There's no amount of time served except for to the end of your motherfucking life that will make me believe that you're safe to be back out in society again. Especially with the premeditation involved. Like, that is not normal. No. Like Morgan said, sometimes
family annihilators are super weird to me. Family annihilators,
and they had the facts too at the end, like patricide is very common. It's usually, patricide is when the children kill the parents, right? I think it's like infantile. I can't remember what the name of the terms are, but when you kill your children, normally it's the father figure. Men usually kill their wives more than women kill their husbands, or not to be gender.
But that's just how it works out in the stats.
And yeah, I mean, he definitely was a fucking walking statistic, and that's gross.
Yeah.
So that's the story of, I don't remember their last names, but that's the story. It's very sad. Like we said, it's, very recent history, but it was so fucking gross.
It was, but the way, I think what stood out for this doc is the way that it was put together from all the different video sources. Like, you were literally there. That's what it seemed.
Felt very,
it wasn't a bunch of interviews with police and with friends. No, it was them talking the way they had talked in real time. So that's what I think was the best, because I think this is the direction a lot of true crime is going to go, because a lot of stuff is on video now. I got video cameras in my house. Not in my house, but I have a range.
Home security, yeah.
Yeah. Everybody got phones, and that's the first thing. If something weird happened, just in case, let me get this bitch recording. So that's how I think it's gonna go.
Right now I have chills, but that was the story. Yeah, dude. Fuck that nigga.
I know, I feel like I need some upbeat now just talking about it. Like, I need a cartoon, or
maybe we can do another one, but not about murder, because crime is not all murder, even though usually it's murder. Maybe we should do like a woman theft or something, a female theft. What? A female thief. What's that lady's name? Doris or Dolores, the diamond thief? We need somebody on her level. Yeah, the diamond heist lady. We need to do something on her level, like some Grand Theft Auto or some shit, but with bitches.
Hey, women do crime too.
They definitely do. Okay, snaps. I have family that. Never mind, saying too much. But if you, I've never been indicted of any crimes or anything.
Hey, I've not been associated with shit.
Neither have I, bitch. I mean, not that you're a bitch, but
I got
in general, bitch. Because I got shit to do. I got shit to lose. Okay, period. So if you guys have more suggestions or any suggestions on what we should watch instead, especially given the goal for where we're trying to head next, less depressing, maybe.
All right.
Let us know. I kind of want to do a female serial killer though, but it's just so much.
I mean, and here's the thing: some of them can have some funny moments throughout. Like, the story can be funny, even though the end product and what's going on is like fucked up.
Yeah.
Sometimes just like,
honestly,
how did we get from here to here?
Yeah. Because there are some moments in this thing where I was like, okay, like some, it's not all heavy. Like, I think this was done very well. I really, aside from like the story being interesting and everything, I think the production of it was amazing. But yeah, dude. And honestly, with serial killer, I really want to do a serial killer more again. Because the thing is, this sounds kind of messed up. Not that each life is not significant, but depending on how many people were killed, it's not as heavy, because it's like, it's like, damn, this person killed a lot of people, but it's not necessarily.
But you don't get as many details sometimes from each individual act.
Exactly.
There's that one I gotta find. There gotta be some sort of, even if it's like a clip from a show, That the guy that because I never thought about this, but I think I told you the guy that Scream is based off of, like that was a serial killer. I was like, never knew that was based off of something true. So that could be cool. Even some of the things, well, I don't know. I like stuff where stuff is resolved. I hate a story like we don't know what the fuck going.
I hate that because it's like, especially when it's been going on for so long, it's like, again, this movie is the polar opposite of everything else that goes on. Like, this was resolved so quickly, or not quickly necessarily. Well, yeah, actually, yeah, quickly, but it's just, you know, a clean, even end to it. It's very final. Like, there's, I mean, of course, stuff comes up in the future. Like, maybe we'll find something else about the girlfriend, or like maybe the parents were in on it because they tried to fucking kill the little kid with ice cream. Maybe, but something that's like very like concise. Like, I like that too.
Right.
Because I don't want to be
because
like,
there's some like, I love cold case files. I love it, but I hate that I don't know the outcome.
Yeah.
And which is real. It's a cold case. That's literally what a cold case is. It's not solved.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of want to do like some Thelma Louise shit, or like I want to do a woman this time. A woman or a queer person, something. Start talking about niggas, okay? Tired of it. So that was our episode. If you have suggestions, especially along the trend of what we just talked about, something a little bit different than murder. Or murder, if that's your thing. That'll be great. Morgan, are you going to tell people that we have a podcast, or that I have a podcast and that you were on it?
I can do that. I will do that. It's going on my list and I will do it.
I posted that, hey, we have an episode of it. Morgan's in it. This bitch is going, she liked it. What does that do? What was your idea?
I'm sorry. Hey, it's there. I'm doing it. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I'm posting it tomorrow.
And you can cuss me out if it don't, but it's going to, so you won't have to. I'm telling you, I'm gonna do it.
Anyway, that's our episode. Who knows what we'll do it again? Who knows what she going through? I don't know what she's going through. I just know that
Life is weird, dude.
Life is weird, but at least you're not being brutally murdered. Thank God. Morgan, if you die, I'm gonna kill you. Okay, bye.
Bye.